So hygiene, yeah, hygiene in a better. So what do we understand about hygiene? That means, see, it costs less to be clean than to be dirty. That means sanitation is one of the most important function in the meat plant, and it demands a well-trained and a responsible personnel. So the contamination occurs in an abattoir is largely derived from so many sources. Okay, so the first one can be animal who are entering into the abattoir, then the procedure of slaughtering and carcass dressing, and the accumulation of the animals in the liveage, like those things will increase the possibility of cross contamination in which salmonella is incriminated. So there are different contamination source. So inside the meat plant, bacteria they are spread by contact with the personnel's clothing, surface, and equipments. And apart from that, vermins, birds, insects, and animals also they can spread bacteria. So microorganism it can be brought into the premises by the visitor also or other personnels, and also by the vehicles who are used that are used in the farm in the premises as well as in the abattoir. So the initial contamination on animals to a minimum and to supplement this with the strict hygiene at all stage in the abattoir itself is very, very essential. So hygiene in abattoir itself depends on many factors in addition to those outlined above. So those includes area of the plant size, construction and the layout, then throughput, type of equipment used, facilities for cleaning operation, as well as last but not the least, the type of the employee, whether they have maintained sanitation or not. So this is an outlay of a modern abattoir. So in order to know the hygiene in abattoir, first we have to know what is how the modern abattoir looks like. Okay, so this thing you might learn in LPT. Different types of abattoir. There will be small type and medium size, then large size slaughterhouse. But as a whole, this, in a nutshell, this is one of the layout designed by an architect for a modern abattoir. If you see here, this is the stockyard, and then after stockyard, those animals who are planned for slaughtering, they will keep in this liveage. They will stock all the animals who are arriving in the abattoir here, and then they will keep the animals which are uh, meant for slaughter, they will keep in the liveage. So in this liveage, we used to do antemortem inspection. Okay. So if you see here, this is a ramp. So animals who are fit for slaughter, they will come in this ramp. Okay. And then they will go in this area. So this is the stunning area. And after that, after stunning, stunning means making the animal unconscious. Immediately after stunning, they will do bleeding. So after bleeding, they will do hoisting. They will hold the animals upside down in the rail in the slaughter hole. So they will put it here, and then all the postmortem inspection will be done in this area. Just 1 minute. Oh, hello. Oh, class kala. Lamit. Oh, excuse me. One student has entered just now. I'll just let student in. Okay, so after this, so this is a slaughterhouse. The whole thing, all this area is a slaughterhouse or abattoir, and inside this slaughterhouse there is a slaughter hole. Okay, so after bleeding, it will come to this railing. So this area is the places where they are doing post-mortem inspection, and then they will do evisceration here, and if necessary they will go for laboratory tests, and all those animals who are fit for consumption, those carcasses which are fit for consumption. They will pass through this corridor. Then after that, they might do this deboning and packing. And then here, uh, they might go for cold storage, or else they will go for dispatch. They might keep it for chilling, or else they will go for dispatch. And after dispatching, they will do transportation. Then they will go and sell in the market. Okay, so this is the line for antemortem, and here postmortem, and this is for sailing. And apart from these rooms, there is one room that is emergency slaughter hall. Okay, so in this emergency slaughter hall, animal will enter in this slaughter hall, and then they will separately do all those stunning, bleeding, all these things in this separate room for emergency slaughter. So in the case of emergency slaughter, um, those carcasses who required for emergency slaughter only will be slaughtered in this separate hall. Okay, so that is how they have done. And then all in this area, this is a cleaning hooks, offal cleaning, offal cooling, then office. And here, these are utility block. These are the female change room with toilet and bathroom with lockers. Then this is female restroom, canteen. Then here, male change room and toilet, all those things, and the male restroom and canteen. Okay, and before entering into the slaughter hall area, there will be a food bath. Okay, so this is how the layout of modern abattoir is, and then there should be a boiler as well as a rendering plant for disposal of the waste and the effluent treatment plant. So this is a layout of modern abattoir. So in this, we have to maintain sanitation. So that is what we have to learn in today's class. Okay, that is hygiene in abattoir. So the building and the equipment, so all the building, it must be vermin proof and it should be kept free from flies. Then the floors and the walls, it should be of smooth, impervious material with a corner covered, and no opportunity should be given for any dirt to collect. That means all area, it should be capable of being easily and effectively cleaned. And all the paint, it should be of a lead-free type. Then all the type of the equipment, it must be of good quality, durable, then easily cleaned and non-toxic to meat and the meat products. So all these things you have to keep in mind. Then there are different cleaning compounds. So let us discuss one by one. So there is a term, the different terminology under this hygiene in a better chapter. Then first one is sterilization. Sterilization is what? That means it is any process, chemical or physical, which destroy all living microorganisms. It is an absolute term. Sterility means absence of all forms of life. That means it whether it is a chemical process or physical process, that process will destroy all the living organisms. That is sterilization. And there is a term called disinfectant. You might be heard of this, quite a very common. So this is an agent, usually a chemical one. Okay, disinfectant, usually they are chemical one, and it destroys bacteria. But at this point, okay, keep in mind this one. It does not necessarily need to destroy the bacterial spores. We are not concerning about the bacterial spores. Maybe the vegetative cells are destroyed. Vegetative bacteria are destroyed. Okay. Then another one is antiseptic. Antiseptic means this is a substance which prevents or arrests the growth of microorganisms either by inhibiting their activity or destroying them. Okay, so what is the difference between disinfectant and antiseptic? In disinfectant, it destroys, that means it kills the bacteria. In antiseptic, it just prevent or arrest the growth of microorganisms. Okay, that is the difference. That's why what is Dettol is antiseptic or disinfectant? Anyone? Dettol.
Antiseptic.
Pardon?
Ma'am, antiseptic.
Yes, antiseptic. because it just prevents or arrests the growth of organisms. And this antiseptic we usually use on the living cells, like on our skin, on animal skin, like that. Okay, but disinfectant it can be used. It is commonly used in non-animate substances, like floors. For example, we are using phenol, isn't it? Phenol, cresol, and all those things for cleaning toilet and all these things. They are disinfectant. It is more stronger. What I mean to say. Okay. Then there is a term again, germicides. This means they will destroy vegetative bacterial cell, not necessarily the bacterial spores, and is thus akin to disinfectant. But the difference between disinfectant and germicide is that this germicide, okay, it is usually applied in relation to disease-producing bacteria. Okay, in order to kill the germs, we are applying that substance. Then we can term that one as germicides. Then another definition is sanitizer. This is very common, no? Did you see this one? This is hand sanitizer, no? It's very common these days because of COVID. So this sanitizer is a chemical agents, and what does it do? It reduces to acceptable bacteriological standards the number of the bacterial contaminants on the surface in contact with the food. That means in sanitizer, it just reduces the bacterial load. It doesn't arrest or prevent nor destroy. It just reduces to a limit that the bacteria will not be that much that it will not be able to cause a disease. Now, can you know the difference between all this? Disinfectant, antiseptic, germicides, and sanitizer. So disinfectant and germicides, the action is same, but the germicide is applied in relation to a disease-producing bacteria, means commonly used for that. But disinfectant, it can be used in anything, okay, like non-animate substances commonly used. So sanitizer, they will reduce to an acceptable bacteriological standards the number of the bacterial contaminants on the surface in contact with the food. That means only the number is reduced to an acceptable bacterial standards. Okay, that will not cause harm to the person or to an animals. So that is sanitizer. So try to know the difference. Okay, this is very, very important, this terminology. Okay, we'll just let one more students in. Then detergents. Okay, there is a term called detergents. This means it is a cleansing substance which acting with water can remove soil or dirt from the surface. We are using all this surf, isn't it? Then Mr. White, so many detergents are there which we use for washing dishes and clothes and all, no? So they are a cleansing substance and they act with water. And then while mixing with the water, they have the capability of removing the soil and dirt from the surface. So that is detergents. So it may be natural detergents or artificial, or it may be in the form of tablets, powder, flakes, or liquid. So a detergents, what does it do? It weakens the tension at the water surface, breaks down particulate and greasy dirt, and then it holds it in suspension with the aid of agitation and internal electrical forces. So this is what it does. So one very important thing which you should keep in mind is that you used to stay in hostel also, and uh, you might wash your clothes at home also. When you soak detergents, when you soak your clothes with detergents, if you leave for 2 nights or like 2 3 days, the smell comes, isn't it? So that means you are soaking the detergents and you are soaking your clothes with detergents and the dirt is already removed. And then If bad smell comes, means bacteria is trying to uh, bacteria tries to come there again. That is what that bad smell comes. So when you sew clothes also, you should not take a very long time. Do you understand? There is a time period where the detergents and the dirt or the soil are reacting, and it may be around 3 to 4 hours, and then at that time you wash it off. Otherwise, that same dirt it will again uh, grab more into your clothes, and then some bacteria will come, and some degenerations and all those things will take place, and it will give some bad smell. So that is more worse. Okay, so that part you have to keep in mind. So the most effective natural detergents is water. This is um, one more thing you have to mark it. Okay, what is a natural detergents? A natural detergents is water. Then artificial detergents, it may be simple inorganic chemical compounds such as washing soda with sodium carbonate, and more complex organic substances such as soap or mixture of synthetic cleansing materials and leather producing chemicals as in modern washing powder and liquids. So when you use detergents, the contact period between the detergents and the dirt is very important to remove from the surface, or to remove from the clothes, or to remove from the floors, whatever, wherever you are applying the detergents. So detergents, it can consist of two main categories. One is soapy detergents and another one is soapless detergents. So let us see what is this soapy detergents. So these are made by heating animals and or vegetable oil with an alkali using caustic soda. So those animal fats which are taken from beef or mutton, tallow or marine oil, you will get this soapy detergents, or vegetable oil which is used chiefly from the palm or palm kernel, coconut, soybean, groundnut, cottonseed, or olive oil. So this soapy detergents is taken from all those. Then another soapless detergents is usually in the form of powder or liquid, and are manufactured mainly from the mineral oil by sulfonation. That is reaction with sulfur trioxide. So some are produced by sulfating tallow alcohol and by reacting alcohol with ethylene oxide. So there is an enzyme-based foam cleansing agents, which is more recent, developed in an attempt to solve protein and fat cleaning problem in the meat industry. Then let us see what are the four main groups of detergents or surface active detergents. There is anionic detergents, cationic detergents, non-anionic detergents, non-ionic detergents, or ampholytic or amphoteric detergents. So let us see what is anionic detergents. So these anionic detergents, they produce electrically negative ions in solution. For example, soap and those most modern synthetic detergents, they belong to these anionic detergents. So they produce negative ions in the solution. Then cationic, they will produce electrically positive ions in the solution, although they possessing good wetting, foaming, and emulsifying properties, but they are weaker detergents in compared to anionic detergents. Then non-ionic detergents are there, and in these non-ionic detergents, they will not produce electrical charge in the solution. Some may cause undue foaming, but this is less serious with the synthetic detergents. And the last one is the ampholytic or amphoteric detergents. So they act as anionic or cationic detergents, depend on the pH of the solution, and they are not used extensively in the food industry. So most commonly, anionic detergents is used, or else cationic detergents. So these are the four main groups of detergents. So to be an effective detergents or cleansing agents, that cleansing agents or that agents, they should have some properties. So the first one is power to remove the soil from the surface. So any surface, for example, in the abattoir, you are washing the knife, you are washing the cutting tables, you might wash the floors. Usually when we slaughter the animals in the slaughterhouse, everything become dark plus greasy, no, because of the fats which is coming out from the slaughtered animals. So at that time, the power to remove the soil from that surface is very, very important. Okay. Then the second one is capacity to effect maximum suspension and deflocculation of the soil. Then third is the ability to prevent scale formation in hard water system. So hard water, um, they will have more minerals with them. So at that time, scales formation might be there. So uh, that detergents they should have the ability to prevent scales formation in hard water system. Then the fourth is means of ensure optimum rinsing. That means it should be totally rinse off again, not stick onto the surface where we are applying. Okay. Then the fifth is the potential to maintain relatively stable degree of acidity and alkalinity. Then the ability to combine satisfactorily with sanitizing agents when both are used together. Then it should be non-toxic. Then no tendency to taint the meat or offals. So this staining of the meat or offals that should not be there because of the detergents. Then uh, it should be economy to use. So you should try to use a good quality one, but that should be economical. Otherwise, if the cost is very high, then the expenditure in the abattoir will be high. That will again affect the price of the meat, isn't it? So everything we should think for the economy also. Then number 10 is non-corrosiveness to surfaces, especially the metal. Then 11, biodegradability. No pollution problem should be there. So these modern synthetic detergents, which can produce abundant leather, consist chiefly of sulfonated fatty alcohols and adjuvants such as phosphates, silicates, carborates, and enzymes. So detergent action is measured by the ability of substance to remove particles of dirt are first of all loosened and then enclosed in protective films which are easily washed off. So those characteristics a detergent should have. Now, sanitizing agents commonly used in the food industry belong to four main groups. One is halogen-based formulation, then quaternary ammonium compound, then amphoteric compound, acids, and alkalis. So let us this this ability to sanitize is governed by the concentration of the agent used, the temperature, the time of application. That is what I'm saying. Okay, so if it is too greasy, we should always use warm water, especially in the abattoir. You should always have a warm water everywhere because after each and every cutting of the organs, for example, carcasses also. So that part we have to be very careful. Okay. Then the temperature of the substances, the cleaning water that which we're having, time of application is what I have told just now. The time of contact between the detergents and the dirt, that is very, very important. Otherwise, if it exceeds the time, then you will get more worse. Then acidity and alkalinity of the solution and the presence of organic matter also. These are some of the ability to sanitize, means those are some ability which govern the sanitization of the abattoir. So sanitizing agents, as I would say, commonly used in food industry. The first one, halogen. Under this, chlorine is very common one. So it is used in today's world in many food industries for sanitizing or disinfecting purposes, as well as for the treatment of water and sewages, and also for the treatments of equipments in the drug and pharmaceutical fields and hospitals. So this chlorine may be supplied commercially either as a gas or as hypochlorite solution prepared from relative inexpensive and food grade salt. Then the second one is quaternary ammonium compound. So these are cationic detergents, good cleansing agents, and not reliable disinfectant These are the drawback because of essentially bacteriostatic, mainly against gram-positive organism, and they cannot be mixed with anionic detergents or soap. Alpha-turic compound, they are either long-chain substitute amino acids and betanes, and they are surface active, compatible with all other detergents and sanitizers, and unaffected by the hard water. Then inorganic acids and alkali, like those, for example, this caustic alkalis, boric acid, then organic benzoic acid, they are rarely used in routine cleansing operation, although some like sodium carbonate, sodium hydroxide, it may be used in a specific disinfection situation. So these are four common sanitizing agents which are used in the food industry. Now let's see what is this. This is a Tego compound. These are ampholytic derivatives of odecyl D-glycine, and they are surface active and they are bacteriostatic, but their activity is reduced by many substances, including organic matter and hard water. If that means if organic matters and hard waters are there, the activity is greatly reduced. They are not toxic, but they are expensive. So certain disinfectants, for example, coal tar preparation, this cresol phenol, they have useful bactericidal action. So under Tego compound is cresol and phenol comes, okay. So, but in meat industry, because of its strong smell, we cannot use within the slaughter hall and all. But for cleaning toilet and all those things, that latrines, we can use this compound. So developing a cleaning program. So hygiene is everyone's responsibility. So it is necessary to organize a sanitation unit under a responsible and competent supervisor and to establish a working routine. So this will include the area and the equipments to be treated, cleaning techniques to be adopted, the frequency of the treatment, type of detergent, sanitizers to be applied, safety precautions, etc. So in an abattoir, there should be cleaning techniques that we are adopting, how frequently we will clean or we will do the treatment, what type of detergents we will use, all those things, it should have a plan, okay, in the abattoir. So a system of daily or weekly or monthly cleaning operation properly related to particular areas and items combined with efficient routine maintenance must be first established. That means for each and every slaughter, uh, at the end of the day, okay, you should always clean all the equipments used during slaughtering. You should clean all the slaughterhouse, the table, the floors in the day itself, in the evening. Otherwise, if it got stained there or if it stays there for 1 or 2 nights also, lots of bacteria will come. No, because these are highly proteinous substances, meat and meat products. Okay, that thing we have to be very, very careful. So, as a further means of emphasizing the great importance of plant hygiene, a daily sanitation report, it should be kept by the inspector as a daily record of overall condition. So this will include all parts of plant, including lairage, and indicate whether satisfactory or unsatisfactory condition obtained and the actions taken. So we should have a daily sanitation report, what we have done. And apart from that, we have to write whether the cleaning at the day's end is satisfactory or unsatisfactory. All those things also we have to record it. So the standards of the pest control and personal cleanliness of staff, it should also be noted. So properly used, such as record will detect problem areas, improvement or deteriorations, and be of values in improving techniques and the change of staff occurs. So the cleanliness of the staffs, whether they are wearing wash clothes or not, all those things, whether their boots are with dirt, with soil or not, everything they have to check. The separation of the clean from the dirt operation is a prime responsibility in the slaughterhouse. So in order to produce a workable sanitation procedure, two main areas of operation must be recognized. One is, this is important, okay, what are the two main areas of operation in the abattoir? One is general housekeeping function. General housekeeping function means this floor cleaning, then prevention of unnecessary pile up of the waste materials like blood, meat, fat scraps, bones, etc. No, we should not pile up in the corner in the slaughter hall. We have to remove it thoroughly and what to say, like mop it, clean it, everything. Okay. Then removal of waste material, control of smoking, all these things, no daily needs. This is called general housekeeping. Okay, that should be in a proper way and it should be function very well. Then second one is the meat and meat products handling. For example, those carcass dressing procedure, sterilization of the knives and steels, hands, arm, apron, boot, all these things comes under meat and meat products handling. So these are the two main areas of operation which we have to keep in mind. So what is the objective of sanitation? First thing, visual hygiene. That means just by looking with your eyes, whether the floor is clean or not, the table is clean or not, the corner is clean or not. Okay. Then chemical hygiene means no residues of cleaning compounds are left after the day's end. Then microbiological hygiene is again there. That means freedom from the potentially pathogens. In this case, we can use hazard analysis critical control point. So we have to apply for this microbiological hygiene. So there are visual hygiene, chemical hygiene, and microbiological hygiene. So all areas and items, it must be look clean, feel clean, and smell clean. Okay. Then pre-slaughter operation. So operation, it must not begin until satisfactory report is received from the inspector. That means for each and every slaughtering in the slaughterhouse, every slaughtering of the animals in the slaughterhouse, first the inspector will inspect each and everything, the knife, the table, the slaughter hall, everything. And if he or she gives satisfactory report, then only slaughtering can be uh, proceed. Otherwise, they cannot do slaughtering. So operation must also cease if unsatisfactory hygiene condition occur and not recommence until defects are remedied. That means during operation also, once they have announced unsatisfactory hygiene, then at that time the process should be stopped. So inspector, they should request dismantling of certain pieces of equipment and this should not be reassembled until inspection is completed. So dart is usually a mixture of fatty material and solid particulate matter and it varies in composition according to the areas where it occurs and the surface from which it has to be removed. So fat, soil, manure, seeds, hay, straw, all these things. Now, blood, they are the common entities to be dealt with in the meat industry. And one more thing, water. Water for cleaning purposes, for hand washing, carcass spraying. So it should be a potable one. It should be of good quality. But that for refrigeration, steam production, and fire precaution may be of a lower standard. But as a whole, the water that which we are using in the slaughterhouse, that should be of good quality one. Okay. So there are some of the factors which involved in the cleaning efficiency. These are water pressure, water flow rate, temperature, presence of organic matter, chemical actions, and time. So all these factors are very, very essential and they are involved in the cleaning efficiency. Then the principles of efficient cleaning will involve, as we have said, good housekeeping, that is dry cleaning and daily and weekly cleaning. And it is important that tidiness during routine operation prevails, good use being made of container, chutes, for feed, hides, offals, and waste scraps in order to make the tasks of general cleaning easier and more effective. So now there are some cleansing operation. Okay, so this is very important again. So a good system of dry cleaning will ensure that the final daily operation must, after the completion of slaughtering, is rendered more effective. So this should commence immediately after operation has ceased, before fat has had time to harden, and should embrace the whole premises, even to the lairage, where disinfectant should be used. That means we have to remove the dirt as soon as possible. That means until and unless that dirt had a hard time to had time to become hardened. Okay, so detergents followed by detergents and sanitizer is necessary for actual meat premises, and this must be applied under adequate pressure and temperature not less than 14 kgf. This means kilogram force, the force of the water pressure, okay, per square centimeter. And as I have said, in the slaughterhouse, the water that which you are keeping, if not boiling water, it should be at least heated at above, or it should be 82 degrees Celsius and above. Keep in mind this one, okay? What is the temperature of the water for your JRF and all these things also? Temperature of the water in the abattoir, how much hot it should be, okay? It should not be, or it should be 82 degrees Celsius and above. The water which is in the abattoir always. This hot water is always used for dipping the knife, for cleaning the table in an emergency, and after killing all the animals, after finishing, you have to clean the floors, the table, everything again. No? So at that time, the water should be at 82 degrees Celsius and above hot. Okay, mark this one. This is very important. Then, as far as the normal meat plan is concerned, the area include those lairage, all this, no, which I have told you just now, stunning and bleeding sectors, slaughter hall, deboning department, refrigeration and meat preparation area, offals and hide rooms, boilers and engineering rooms, along with the toilets and various type of equipments. It should be in a good condition one. So lairage, in the lairage, especially important, this is an important area. Lairage is the place where animals are kept before slaughtering. Now, so in the slaughterhouse, so at that point of time, one organism is very common, that is Salmonella, and another one which is secondly common is this coliform organism, or you can say both are these two organisms. Okay, Salmonella and coliform organisms used to take the upper hand, or used to be uh, transmitted among the animals. What are the diseases? Salmonella and coliform organisms. Okay, you can mark this one also. So that rage, it can also contribute to the amount of fecal contaminations on animals, which on entry may have been reasonably clean. So while cold water under pressure also is used for livestock pens, cold water in areas where carcass and meats are handled, although used for the initial tidying up, but it serves only to harden the fats and the blood. So always, as I have said, hot water under pressure with a suitable alkaline detergents being necessary for proper cleanup. So you keep in mind this one. In the lairage, up to the lairage area, you can use cold water. But after stunning, all this slaughter whole part, now you have to use hot water only. So the type of the building and the equipment is important, as we have said. So there should be a good hygienic, preferably soft and water and an adequate number of hose point. Those are essential. So this is what I have told you just now. It should not be in the ample supply of hot water at the temperature of not less than 60 degrees Celsius is essential, preferably boosted with the steam and above 82 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then steam alone, they are not efficient sterilizing agents. It seems to be a very good one because why? Why steam alone is not an efficient sterilizing agent? Because it cools when it contacts with cold surface. Give reasons, okay. For give reasons also this can come. Why steam alone is in an abator? Because steam, no, when it get contact with the surface, or cold surface, it gets cooled immediately. No, so that is why it is not good enough. So water pressure, it must be high enough to remove the accumulation of fats, blood, bone dust from the floors and other surfaces. Okay, so the usual method of applying hot water in the meat plant is through high pressure jet cleaner. The final pressure at the whose nozzle is being in the region is 14 kgf per square centimeter. So for greater efficiency, the hot water is usually combined with a fixed amount of detergents and then it is used for cleaning the whole premises. This is the one I have told, no, at the base end, then you have to clean all the knives, scraps, and meat container, everything with hot water mixed with detergent solution. There are two type of detergents, foamy and gel cleaning. Okay, it's okay this part. So advantage of this foamy cleaning, it is labor saving and it is economical, biodegradable, and then foam does not splash and is comparatively safe to use. So in the process of cleaning of meat plant, it is necessary to carry out the following procedure. So what we have to do? First, you have to remove all the gross fat, skin and meat scraps. The gross one, no, bulky one, you will remove it. Okay. Then after that, in the slaughter hall in particular, this is a round the clock operation and it must be associated with a tidying working method. And after that, you have to apply a cleaning compound at proper temperature for their optimum activity. And then you have to rinse with the hot water. Then after that, you will clean with the hot water again. At that time, you can use around 60 degrees Celsius also. But as I have said, for dipping the knife and during slaughtering and all, or during post-mortem, you have to use at the temperature 82 degrees Celsius and above. Okay. But for cleaning floors and all these things, up to 60 degrees Celsius also, it is acceptable. This is important, okay? There are three types of automated cleaning system. This is very, very important. You listen very carefully. Extensive research by the chemical industry and cleaning equipment manufacturer, especially in the US and West Germany, they have prepared several automated systems to cope with what is probably the most important problems in the food industry, sanitation. So under this, there are three main types of automated cleaning system, okay? These are CIP, CCS, SCCS. You mark this, okay? Mark it. CIP means cleaning in place system. CCS means central cleaning system. Then SCCS is there, that is self-contained cleaning system. These are the automated cleaning system, which is commonly used in the abattoir. So let us see the first one. What is CIP? CIP means it is a closed system in which cleaning compounds are circulated by a pump through a series of pipes to the components to be cleaned. That means you are cleaning the thing in its own place by pumping the water, the detergents, letting flowing through all the pipes and all. Okay, so this was first developed for the dairy industry. This cleaning in place here in Mizoram, Morgo. Have you ever gone to Malgo? Anyone in Mizoram? Milk plant? Okay, maybe you have not gone there. So that pipe, okay. Uh, for pasteurization of milk, those pipes are there fitted at fixed. Okay, so in for that type also, this cleaning in place system is applied. So it is a closed system. So all the compounds they are circulated by a pump through a series of pipes, and to different components it goes and it brings the whole thing. So at present, it has a limited application in the meat industry, although it can be used for the internal cleaning of mixer, chopper, and other equipments that necessitates the use of the tank. So first, they will let the water flow in hot water Then they will let the detergents, liquid detergent solution to flow through. Then after that, they will rinse with the clean hot water. Okay, in this cleaning in place system. So food plant that process fluids and other than milk also utilizes CIP system extensively. So the second one is a central cleaning system. So in this case, they will keep all the things together in the central for cleaning. So they have a central pumping source supplying cleansing solution under pressure to remove location at in a meat plant. So in one CCS cleaning material may be mixed centrally and delivered to various points through one manifolds. Then the plant water supply being used for rinsing. So in the other, CCS detergents is transported through separate manifolds to each remote station where it is mixed with the high pressure water system required and used through a cleaning run. So these two separate lines, which are of course more costly, both pressure wash and pressure rinse can be carried out. So this the first one cleaning in place is very commonly used. The next one is a self-contained cleaning system. So in this case, it has a pumping source and a chemical spray system contained in one unit, and it may or may not have uh, facilities for foam production. So these are the three types. So the first one is cleaning in. Second one is central cleaning system, then self-contained cleaning system, CIP, CCS, and SCCS. So these are three different automated cleaning systems. Okay, employee training. So this is very, very important. In order to maintain hygiene in an abattoir, okay, we know what are the detergents which we can use, what are the different types of cleaning styles, okay, what is the action of detergents, we know everything. But the one who are going to apply, the one who are going to do all the sanitation are the employee, isn't it? So this is very, very important. The training of the employees. So a sound training in theory and practical of good hygiene is essential and operative, and it should have all necessary facilities to achieve a high standards of personal cleanliness and a clean and a workman-like job. So personnel themselves, they have to be protected from contamination and possible infection. So poor hygiene standard, it can lead to bad quality, loss of consumers, and even to outbreak of the food poisoning. So we have to be very, very careful. So they have a direct effect on the shelf life, and it can lead to actual production delays and condemnation. First thing, all the managers, they need to be fully familiar with the current meat hygiene legislation, and they should be up to date with the new innovation, especially those immediately concerned with sanitation. So the presence of a fully qualified nurse and a properly equipped first aid room can also assist, or it is a compulsory to be there in the abattoir. So use maybe of suitable posters, supplemented lectures, film suggestion teams, competition discussion. So with the use of all these type of different techniques, you can give training to the employee. So each employee, they should be given a hygiene booklet, which may be combined with one on safety when they begins the employment. So as soon as the employee enters the slaughterhouse for working in the slaughterhouse or in the abattoir, they should first have a training regarding hygiene, how to use the detergents, how frequently they have to use, and record keeping. All these things they should be trained. And in the middle also, when they are in working stage, at that time also, after some interval of year, they should have what to say refresher course training, okay, to refresh their mind. So that is all about these are on the job training. That is what I'm saying. Like as soon as they have uh, encountered or they have started employed in the arbiter, they should have a training. And after that, on the job training, which can be done with the use of equipments, tools, and sterilization, protective clothing. So all these things, they should go training. Then only they can work in the arbiter. This is on the job training, the when entry they should train an ongoing training program. That's what I'm saying. This is a refresher course, they should also undergo. One more thing is that cuts, cuts and injury of various types, it may, but not only once, it may be encountered in the midbed. So need of personal hygiene, hair and hand care, toilet, general cleanliness, and prompt treatments of cuts, abrasion, and skin lesion, it must be stressed, and there should be first aid every time, no? Then elements of sanitation, refrigeration, then awareness of hazards of consumer reporting procedure and responsibilities have also to be communicated to the employee. So that is, it's little bit lengthy, today's class. That's why I'm taking in little bit longer period. So do you have any questions from here? Hello, anyone? Do you have any question?